Hayes, and I'm the Director of Public Policy for the Maine Women's Lobby. In 2008, Maine legislators looked at mounting scientific research and concerns about the effects of toxic chemicals and took action for the health of our state's children and pregnant women by passing the KidSafe Products Act. With this evidence-based law's enactment, Maine's identified the worst of the worst chemicals and began to address exposure to those chemicals for our most vulnerable populations. But Maine people are being shortchanged on the KidSafe Products Act right now. The Maine DEP has repeatedly done far less than the law intends and allows when it comes to protecting pregnant women and children from exposure to dangerous chemicals. In some cases, the DEP is simply collecting information already available in other states, and in other cases, they are ignoring the strongest scientific evidence of harm or exposure. This pattern means far too many Maine kids are needlessly being put at risk for learning disabilities, reproductive problems, cancer, asthma, and allergies. That's why we're here today. Representative Sarah Gideon's bill, LD 948, an act to harmonize Maine's laws governing toxic chemicals in children's products with those of other states, will strengthen the KidSafe Products Act so that Maine can do a better job protecting our kids and pregnant women from chemicals that science has shown to be dangerous. LD 948 would strengthen the KidSafe Products Act in three important ways. It would require the Maine Department of Environmental Protection to include products that threaten the health of kids and pregnant women in any rulemaking. It would require manufacturers to report their use of chemicals of high concern, chemicals that are proven to be hazardous to human health, to which children and pregnant women are routinely exposed. And it would require manufacturers to identify safer alternatives to those chemicals of high concern in three priority products. Maine parents and pregnant women have a right to know about dangerous chemicals in the products we use every day. Here to talk about why this matters for Maine families is Megan Rice, a mom of 2 from Belgrade and one of 25 Mainers who was tested last year for the presence of phthalates in her body.
Thank you, Danna. Good morning. Again, my name is Megan Rice, and I live with my family in the town of Belgrade. As the parents of 2 young girls, every day I think about how to protect them from toxic chemicals. I'm extremely careful about the products I buy. No plastic food containers, no toxic cleaners in the house, no nonstick frying pans, and no soft vinyl toys. But there are 80,000 chemicals used in everyday products in the USA today, and no parent, no matter how careful, can shop our way out of this problem. Last year, as Danna mentioned, I was one of 25 people here in Maine who was tested for 7 different phthalates, chemicals that are known hormone disruptors, yet widely used in consumer products. I was shocked to learn that, despite my careful shopping, I had the 2nd highest level of the phthalate DEHP, twice as high as 3 out of 4 Americans tested by the US CDC, and the overall level of phthalates in my body was higher than most. The implications are frustrating and scary. It means that my daughters could be exposed too, regardless of how hard I try to make my home toxic-free. Maine parents and pregnant women have a right to know which products contain dangerous chemicals. It's why Maine legislators passed the KidSafe Products KidSafe Products Act, to begin with, by overwhelming margins, and why the Healthy Kids Bill is so important today. Of course, it's not as simple as all that, because the chemical industry is invested in keeping consumers in the dark about dangerous chemicals, as well as any safer alternatives that are out there. As the tobacco industry has done for decades, the chemical companies rely on a tried and true playbook called deny and delay. They commission fake scientific reports to create confusion and doubt. They engage high-paid lobbyists, lawyers, and front groups to create procedural delays, and they use scare tactics on parents and businesses, causing them to oppose protections and advocate against their own self-interest. The reality is, Maine children and pregnant women are being exposed every day to chemicals that are known to cause harm: cancer, learning disabilities, reproductive problems, asthma, and allergies. But the Maine DEP is leaving pregnant women in the dark about which products are safe and which contain dangerous phthalates and other toxic chemicals. But we can do something about it. No more denials of the overwhelming scientific evidence, no more delays until Congress gets their act together, and no more reinterpretations of Maine's carefully crafted law. I'm asking our elected leaders to stand up for Maine families. Let's pass the Healthy Kids Bill and put the KidSafe Products Act to work as it was intended. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Exposure to toxic chemicals is a serious public health concern. Dr. Lonnie Graham, a family physician and former chief public health officer for the state of Maine, will speak next about why LD 948 is a good thing for Mainers' health.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all the mothers and fathers from every corner of Maine who have been so dedicated to getting dangerous chemicals out of the products that end up in our homes. My name is Lonnie Graham. I'm a family physician and have served as Maine's Chief Public Health Officer. I currently co-chair of the Maine Medical Association's Public Health Committee, and I'm on the board for Physicians for Social Responsibility Maine chapter. I am here today for a very simple reason. As a state, we are abdicating our responsibility to protect Maine children and pregnant women from exposure to toxic chemicals right in their own homes. Let's be clear from the start. Our inaction is not from a lack of tools to get the job done. In fact, Maine has one of the most thoughtful, scientific, and common sense frameworks in place for identifying the most hazardous chemicals, providing valuable information to consumers, and phasing out those chemicals for which safer alternatives can be found. Our Kids Safe Products Act was passed virtually unanimously in 2008 and improved on with strong bipartisan support in 2012. But despite high hopes and overwhelming support from policymakers, medical professionals, and Maine businesses, and the public, progress has not kept pace with the need. Almost every day, new scientific evidence is presented that certain chemicals pose the risk of disrupting the delicately balanced human endocrine system. Potential health impacts also include cancer, obesity, diabetes, learning disabilities, and reproductive problems. Any of these outcomes will make it harder for our children to live healthy, productive lives, and is likely to drive up the health costs for all of us. Yet here in Augusta, very little progress has been made. Maine lawmakers' intent seems clear. The Kids Safe Product Act is absolutely designed to protect pregnant women from exposure to dangerous chemicals. The need for renewed action is clear and common sense. It is our responsibility to protect the next generation from chemicals that could have a devastating impact on their health. We ask the legislature to step up and step in, fix this fiasco that is the current phthalates rule, and make sure that pregnant women don't get ignored in the future. We need to get the ball rolling on collecting information. Maine parents have a right to know which products in their homes contain chemicals of high concern and whether safer alternatives are available. Maine Physicians for Social Responsibility and the Maine Medical Association stand in strong support of Representative Gideon's Healthy Kids Bill. We certainly urge lawmakers to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Graham. It's not just parents and pregnant women who are left in the dark by the chemical industry. Maine business owners who want to sell and use safe products are in the dark too. Bettyann Sheats, owner of Finishing Touches Shower Doors in Auburn, is here to talk about why LD 948 will help business owners as well.
Thank you, and good morning. My name is Bettyann Sheats, and I'm a resident of Auburn, a mother of two, and the owner of Finishing Touches Shower Doors. I'm a member also of the Maine Small Business Coalition, which is comprised of over 3,000 small business owners from across the state. I'd like to start by making a statement on which I think we can all agree. Every Maine consumer has the right to know if there are toxic chemicals in the products we use, and every Maine business has the right to know if the products we use are on the job or sell to our customers are safe. That's how this conversation started years ago with the Kids Safe Products Act, and that's a conversation and a focus we must continue. And we can help Maine families and Maine businesses claim those rights through the Healthy Kids Bill. I'm here today to talk about the Healthy Kids Bill, specifically LD 948. It was introduced by Representative Gideon and co-sponsored by both Republicans and Democrats. No business owner would knowingly choose to expose themselves, their families, or their customers to toxic chemicals on the job or in our homes. But the fact is, it's a guessing game for all of us, a game we shouldn't have to play. Using phthalates as an example, currently there's no way for a consumer to know if phthalates are present. I'm fortunate that I install glass shower doors, and surrounds. It's a safer alternative to plastic vinyl shower curtains, which we know have been shown to contain high levels of phthalates. I'm also a rental property owner, and I go out of my way to avoid vinyl shower curtains and vinyl flooring in my buildings because I don't want my tenants, and especially their children, to unknowingly be exposed to this hormone-disrupting chemical. Phthalates can wreak havoc on a child's health. They're known to cause learning disabilities, birth defects in babies, asthma, and allergies. And most of that havoc occurs before a child is even born because of exposure while in his mother's womb. Yet the Maine DEP has narrowed the focus of the phthalates rule to effectively ignore pregnant women's exposure, despite clear evidence of risk and harm. This makes no sense. And phthalates are just one example of the chemicals used in everyday products that we know are harmful to children and to pregnant women. Just as they go about their daily lives, sitting on the couch, putting on lotion, cooking dinner, or taking a shower. Maine people and businesses deserve better. Where are these chemicals used? Why are they used? And are there safer alternatives? These are straightforward questions that can and should be answered for the most dangerous chemicals in use today. I know I'm not the only business owner who shares this concern, and today we'll be presenting a petition signed by many small businesses from across the state. By taking action to fulfill our inherent right to know, lawmakers will create a market incentive for safer alternatives, leverage that Maine small businesses cannot possibly create on their own. This is about building a future for our children, which starts by getting parents and businesses the information we need to prevent unnecessary harm to our families and our customers. It's about passing smart, low-cost policies that create market incentives for safer alternatives. So I urge the lawmakers to support the Healthy Kids bill. It's time to require that both children and pregnant women are considered in all chemical rulemaking, as Maine lawmakers have always intended. We need to close those loopholes. And it's time to put Maine's Kids Safe Products Act to work, collecting information on the use of the most dangerous chemicals and identifying safer alternatives that could give families and businesses some peace of mind. Thank you.
The Maine Women's Lobby is part of the Alliance for a Clean and Healthy Maine because the health risks of exposure to toxic chemicals matters to Maine women and our families. We hear again and again that moms and pregnant women are frustrated by the lack of information about which products contain dangerous chemicals, and they don't understand why our government isn't doing more to protect the health of Maine families. Maine people were outraged when the DEP spoke against getting BPA out of baby and toddler food packaging. We were frustrated when the DEP ignored the intent of the Kids Safe Products Act and deliberately excluded pregnant women when it made cadmium, formaldehyde, mercury, and arsenic subject to disclosure laws. And after this pattern of listening to the chemical industry over Maine people, we were disappointed but not surprised to see the DEP chose to significantly change a citizen-initiated rule and once again exclude pregnant women from its amended proposal. By excluding pregnant women from this rule, the DEP is in direct conflict with the language of the law as well as the scientific evidence regarding the serious health concerns associated with prenatal exposure to phthalates and many other dangerous chemicals. LD 948 will remove any confusion the DEP may have about intent of the Kids Safe Products Act by requiring that in all future regulatory rulemaking, pregnant women be given equal consideration and protection when the agency deems it necessary to take action on one of the worst chemicals. This year, I'm even more frustrated by the DEP's blatant disregard of the law and science because today I'm speaking to you not only as a women's advocate, but as a pregnant woman myself. You may think that after years of doing this work, I would be able to identify products that might expose me to chemicals that may harm the health of my pregnancy. Unfortunately, that's not the reality because it's really hard and often impossible to find any information about the use of toxic chemicals in everyday products. As Megan discussed last year, we took a snapshot of the presence of phthalates in 25 Maine people, and every single participant had phthalates in their bodies, even the moms and pregnant women who consider themselves to be knowledgeable about dangerous chemicals and mindful about their exposure. I know that I'm being exposed to chemicals that are potentially harmful to me, but no amount of reading or research can give me a definitive answer about which products pose a risk and how I can avoid them, because chemical and manufacturing companies are not required to disclose the use of dangerous chemicals like phthalates in their products. In just a few minutes, we will be taking these products purchased here in Maine and mailing them out of state to be tested for the presence of phthalates. We have to take this expensive and cumbersome step because it's the only way we can find out if they have this dangerous chemical in them. This isn't the best way or a reasonable method for Maine parents and pregnant women to get the information they need to make healthy choices for their families. I am a careful, expectant parent. I read the books, I know which foods and activities to avoid, but I do not have access to the information I need to limit my exposure to dangerous chemicals. I can't truly protect my health and the health of my pregnancy unless our legislators act to ensure that the DEP follows the law and includes pregnant women in its rulemaking process. Maine parents and pregnant women need our legislators to help. The health of Maine's future generations depends on them. Help me pack the box.